little bit I remembered, which I haven't put in there, and that was at the very beginning of the war. We were playing in the garden. It would be about early 1940, I think it would be. And we looked up and we thought, oh, 3 planes going up.
Yeah.
And they were in like a sort of diamond, and they were going very fast. And then behind them came another 3. And we thought, oh, she's nice. They were 6 years, 7 years old. And Mother grabbed us. She just grabbed us inside, and the ones behind were shooting at the ones in front. And all the bullets landed on this roof. You can hear them raining down on the roof.
Yeah.
She just got it in time.
Yeah.
But those are the things that you, as a child, you think, oh, 3 aeroplanes, don't you see that? You know, it's all something new and exciting. They must have been the enemy ones, and the other ones behind must have been ours, you know. So it's just little bits like that.
Yeah, it's interesting when we interview people that were children during the Second World War, they always saw it as an adventure.
Yes.
But of course the adults didn't. You know, they knew it was
well,
real.
you knew the adults were there, that you were protected from anything bad, because you know your mum, I mean, my dad had gone, but you knew your mum would protect you. You've got that lovely feeling of protection.
That's right.
She gave you that feeling. So you knew quite well, as long as she was there, nothing bad could happen to you. And it was really, that's a really lovely thing to have as a child, isn't it?
Yeah.
Put all your trust in your parents.
You
don't
do.
you? Yeah.
You
In
do.
your case, your mum, but
Yes, yeah.
yeah, you
But that's how it was. And it was blackout. It was not just the houses blacked out, windows. All the street lights were out. There were no street lights on at all, and if you went out at night, it was all dark. And you couldn't have a torch or anything, because it could have been, any little light could have been seen from above. So we had to be very careful with that. So I don't think anybody ventured out unless they had to. But,
I mean, when you were talking,
but of course you wouldn't go out in them when it was a raid.
No. I was listening to you saying about the farm work and the land girls and the prisoners of war.
Yeah.
My mum had the same experience because she was a little girl in Berkshire at the time.
Oh
during
yes,
the war.
oh yeah.
So, and they had a farm, and so they had land girls and prisoners of war working there.
Yeah.
So yeah, some of your stories are very similar.
Yeah, yes, it will
charming.
be. It will be all over. And the thing is that we were so sorry for these Italian prisoners of war, because we were rationed. We hadn't a lot of food, so there wasn't anything much for prisoners. They had to have a limited amount of food just to keep them going. So Auntie Iris, she said to me, they're not working for me with that. She says, I've got to give them something, because you weren't supposed to do that. But she said, I don't care. She said, they're not working hard for me like they're working, because they did work hard. She said, without having a little bit more nourishment than that. So she would dairy farm, milk. She was able to give them nice hot cocoa,
That's right.
milky cocoa, so that would help them along the way. But it was lovely, the little baskets they made, you know, for us, because to say thank you.
Yeah, I
That's
remember Mum
lovely.
saying they used to. I think they had some Eastern Europeans. I don't know which country they came from, but they used to whittle things out of wood for Mum's
Oh,
little brother.
yes.
You know, little aeroplanes and things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Mum's mum Nana had a huge table. And she remembers meal times as a child, because the table was sort of extended to its full length.
Yes.
And then they'd have all the land girls, all the family, some of the prisoners of war.
Yeah. Sat around it.
You know,
Yes,
so.
I know there was my daughter, they belonged to the FFN, you know, it's a twinning thing with Lincoln, to Neustadt. And there's a toy shop they go to, a beautiful sort of Grimm's fairy tale kind of shop, you know, that sort of thing. And he was a prisoner of war, and he said it was the best time he ever. It was better than living in Germany at the time.
Yeah,
He was a prisoner of war in this country, and he was treated as a civilly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was the difference.
That's right.
I've been watching the Forces channel, and it's shown you some really, all about the different prisoners of war camps, and, you know, the different Jews and things like that.
The
you
ways
know.
they were treated. Yeah.
Oh, it was awful.
Yeah,
some
I
of the
think
things
they were not too bad working on the farms over here.
So when they came, so I mean, in Germany it was a completely different attitude.
Yeah.
So when they came here,
Yeah.
and of course, when the Channel Islands were invaded, and it was only 60 miles before they could have been on the south coast of England.
That's right. Yeah.
I think they'd have hopped to the Isle of Wight and then to the coast.
Yeah.
So I mean, we were very close to it. If it
Mm.
hadn't been for that bomber command
Absolutely.
that they did out, you know.
Well, of course, the Battle of Britain was
Well, the
a
battle
turning point.
was a
in
turning
the war,
point,
yeah.
yes. But I mean, that Lend bit, it finished it off finally, particularly dam busters and things like that.
Mm.
But,
Yeah.
you know, it was a time. But everybody suffered.
They did.
I mean, Hull suffered terribly.
Yeah. That
But
was
they
the thing,
always
there was-
feel they've been left out. You know, everybody talks about everywhere else, but they never talk about Hull. But the Docklands, were, you know, where we were going to go from. Well, I think it was Liverpool.
Yeah, it would.
But that's how it would have gone from. And of course, there was just bombing everything there was torpedoing everything that went out.
Yeah,
There was just U-boats all around the coast.
that's right.
Within a mile or two, you know, it's amazing how we managed to stay uninvaded, wasn't it, really,
was,
when you think
yeah.
about it? The bluff that Winston Churchill must have made
Oh no.
to make them realise.
Mm. That's right.
Yeah.
But to keep them off our shores, you know, as well. But you're right.
Yes,
you know,
it
sort of
was.
counter-espionage, I suppose,
Yeah.
and espionage that was going on.
Well,
Misinformation, wasn't it?
it's interesting. I've been watching the repeats of the World at War, you know,
Yeah.
the TV series, and for Dunkirk, Hitler decided not to send his panzer divisions in, and I think at that time it was generally felt that Hitler still wanted to negotiate a peace
Yeah.
with
With
Great
us-
Britain, with
Britain.
us.
Yeah.
And I think that, in a sense, he let us go, which from his point of view was a huge mistake because it
Yeah.
left over 300,000 of our troops
Yeah.
still intact. But nobody really knows why he just
Well, he
didn't
was right
send
on
in.
the coast there, wasn't he? 21 miles to Dover.
But he got all of his divisions still in France. He could have sent them in and annihilated all of our troops at Dunkirk.
No.
And he didn't do that. I mean, he sent in, you know, sort of Messerschmitts and dive bombers and that
Yes,
sort
these
of thing.
doodlebugs and things.
And yeah, I mean, he was still doing damage that way, but he didn't send in the bulk of his forces.
No.
And nobody's really ever understood why, other
No,
than
I knew that he didn't do it, but I
yeah.
could never.
other
never
than
knew why.
they think that
Yeah.
he still wanted peace with us, and
Yeah.
he in a sense
He must have had some sort of respect for this country.
Maybe.
well,
yeah.
it's always been said that he did, and he never ever wanted to go to war with this country.
No.
And the reason for that is because we had such a good navy and such a good air force.
That's right.
And he knew that we were a country to be
Yes.
reckoned with, and he was hoping that he could forge some sort of peace with us. But of course,
Well, we
The-
didn't agree with his
well,
policies, did
that's,
we?
no, that's a matter of principles, isn't it? It's the difference between right and wrong, and this country
Absolutely.
chose the road of right.
That's right. And
So-
I'm jolly glad we did.
Yeah.
So nice.
But when you're a little child in the war and this is all going on round you know it's all going on round you, but you don't realise how close you are to being in a conflict. You know, how easily you've no idea that they're going to, you know, you could be invaded any time.
Mm.
We were sort of afraid, we were sort of under a safety net or something, you know, it's a bit like that.
Mm.
That nothing could touch us, you know, how you felt. Mother there, you see her.
That's probably why it came across as an adventure to a lot of people that, you know, we've sort of talked about. And
Well-
my mum again, and my mum and my dad. I mean, my dad was in the East End of London, so he's been blown to bits, you know. But
Oh,
he was
terrible.
evacuated, but his mum couldn't bear to be separated from him and his brothers and sisters, so she
No.
got them all back in. You know. But so his experience of the war
Yeah.
was a lot different from my mum's, who was on the farm. But it was a big adventure to her. I mean, she was a great storyteller. I mean, she's not with us anymore,
No.
sadly, but she used to always telling stories about her childhood.
Yeah.
And they had a whale of a time, but it was like a boy's own adventure.
Yes,
To
yes.
them. They were all cycling, or they were in the fields, or they were crossing the woods, or
Yeah.
they were hanging from trees. And they sort of climbing trees.
Oh, they're
and
doing
stuff.
just what normal children
Normal kids
do.
do. That's right.
Yeah.
But the war itself, it was just a nuisance because they were rationed, really. But
Well, it was. I couldn't get any sweets, you see.
no,
But we had innovation, like making that fudge, and things like that.
that's it.
Yeah, it's amazing what you did. And everybody was healthy.
Mm.
And I've often thought to myself, when you see a lot of these old veterans, they've all got beautiful teeth. And somebody said to me the other day, I said, well, you know why? I said, because they didn't have all that sugar.
It's quite true. I mean, one of the cooks, I think it was fairly recently, was saying that one of the best diet that we were ever on was the one in the war years.
That's right, yes. You couldn't eat anymore. And you couldn't have anything any more than anybody else. Nobody could sort of lord anything over you. You were all in the same boat. Didn't matter whether you were the queen or whether the sort of scullery maid or whoever you were, you still all had that same ration.
Yeah.
Amazing. Mind you, there was the black market. The spivs.
Yes.
Did you ever use the black market?
No, we didn't.
I don't suppose there was much opportunity at Skegness, was
No,
there?
there
Really?
wasn't anything like that. It would be more in the London.
Yeah.
In the Windmill Theatre kept open all night, all the time, and there were lunchtime concerts, some of the classical concerts with artists that they kept open. And there was the stage door canteen, and places like that. I think you've heard all about those. Well, you probably will in your travels. Somebody will tell you all about that.
Yeah.
Who probably was stationed somewhere around there and was in London.
Yeah.
Mm.
Because you interviewed one lady, didn't you? And she had been. She was the lady with that controlled the big lights.
No, she was the barrage balloons.
Barrage balloons, that's right, not the lights. Yeah, she was stationed in London and was sort of helping control these barrage balloons. She was saying, she didn't say where they went, but she was saying every Saturday night without fail, raids or no raids, they go out dancing.
Oh, they go to the dance halls, yeah.
Yeah, she didn't say which ones though.
And it was full of Americans with lots of money. So I think the girls rather enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant. And that has been what's come across from just about everybody, despite some of the awful things they saw and heard.
Yes.
They all seemed so happy. Everybody was
Well,
like...
you didn't know if you were going to, if that was your last day, particularly if you were in the services. So you lived for today, a lot of people did. Just live for the day and make the most of it.
Yeah.
So that's where that came from.
You wonder whether in today's, because you hear so much awful stuff about the wars in Syria and things at the minute, but I wonder whether the people there, the actual people, are in the same attitude or of the same attitude, do you think?
I don't know.
It just always seems so miserable, doesn't it? Really awful, but are they going from day to day, just getting on with it,
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, they're coming out, aren't they?
Well, yeah, they're trying to escape.
They're paying these...
That's the main difference, really. During the Second World War, everybody stayed within this country.
They did.
We didn't just try and rush off to another country.
No.
And however bad things are in Syria, and it must be dreadful, the population there is all moving out.
Yeah.
And I don't think that was ever in the the personality profile of the people of this country.
Oh no,
They were going to stay in good
difficult.
old England. Yeah, they were going to stay in good old England, and they were not going to be pushed out.
We were very patriotic.
Yeah, that's
That was
right.
what it was.
I think
I love this country, and I still do.
Yeah.
I rather like to think it's going to preserve with a lot of its heritage. That it's not going to, as the years go by, lose it
No.
with modern technology and everything, and we'll sort of building houses on green belts and things like that.
Yeah, I still have the sense that, that I've always grown up with that, to be patriotic about this country and to feel this is home, and that if anybody did try and invade, you'd stand and fight against it.
Yes, that's right. The Home Guard were funny though.
Yeah.
I was just saying that my Uncle Sid was about 5'2",
Yeah.
and he was a major in the Home Guard. And the science teacher we had at school was about 6'4", and he was in the Home Guard. And he hated my Uncle Sid. That little squirt telling me what to do. It was quite funny. I don't know anything more about the Home Guard than that, but I think they depicted, when it was Dad's army.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I think it was very much on the lines of the way things were, where they had broom handles for guns and things like that when they were training.
Yeah.
And I think that came from stories from people who had told them.
Yeah. Well, they must have had a sense of, they've got this sort of group of men who can't go to war but still want to do their bit in some way.
Of course, to defend the country if we were invaded.
And if they were older, they would have had a life in the profession of some sort, and perhaps were fairly.
Well, they'd probably been in the forces themselves.
Yeah.
In the First World War. You see,
That's right. So they would have had probably some quite egotistical people amongst there as well. So I'm going to be the one in charge.
But it was so small. Uncle Sid, he was about 5'2".
Oh.
This great big, tall, very much in charge of his class at school.
Yeah.
Being told what to do by that little squirt.
It sounds like Captain Mandarin, doesn't it?
Oh, it was lovely.
Yes, yeah. No, it's not. I wish we'd. Well, Paul's always said as well. They wish you'd recorded your parents, didn't you? But my mum would have been brilliant as well. Saying she'd have loved talking to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't ever so well. It's been brilliant. I just love listening to you. It's wonderful.
I was going to stay here all day.
Just wonderful.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything else.
No, that's brilliant.
No.